Okay, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Steaks with Mates. I am your host, Health Coach Joe, and today I am joined by Lucy, that carnivore nurse. So Lucy is someone from our carnivore coaches group I met through, the carnivore coaches group that Simon from How to Carnivore is running. So welcome, Lucy. Thank you for joining in and, having a chat with me from across the pond. We are in different time zones right now. You're obviously...
it's midday in the UK right now. But yes. Hello. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
I am so stoked because we both share one thing in common, and that is we
two things in common.
Two things in common. Probably more. I'm pretty sure.
We'll find out.
Definitely will. But definitely our career, our careers match. So we were going to be talking a little bit about nursing. Let's start with that. Talk us through, why did you get into nursing? And I guess, where are you at right now in your nursing career?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny how I started nursing. I would say it was not my decision and not my plan at all. So because I was like the COVID year in my last year of high school. So
oh gosh,
all very strange time. And when I was in my final year of high school, I was like, well, I need to go to uni and do something, but I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was 17, but I knew I wanted to go to uni. So at the time I was interested in philosophy and theology. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I just have to go study that because it was the only thing I could vaguely see myself wanting to pursue. So I applied for uni. I got in. I had my student loan organized. I had my accommodation organized. Everything was ready. And then COVID happened and the last year of high school got cut off short. And I suddenly had so much time at home to think my life through. And I was just like, what am I going to do with a philosophy degree? I mean, I had no idea what it actually meant. So then I just woke up one day and just canceled everything. And then I was like, I guess I'm on a gap year now. At the time, I was a nanny for a family. So I was in a caring role. I really liked, I liked working with children. I was a tutor for maths and English as well before COVID. So I was kind of in that nurturing environment. Yeah. And my sister, I was a bit of a lost cause, to be honest. I didn't have much direction at all. I didn't know what was going on. And my sister could see that, and God bless her. She looked at the uni, it's called clearing. It's just any extra spaces going for any courses. Yeah. And she just looked through all of them and saw nursing and realized it was the last day to apply. And she just phoned them up pretending to be me and just gave them all of my, my grades. Hi, my name's Lucy. This is my grades. And then I got an email you have an interview for nursing at Glasgow Uni. So I did the interview and then I got in, and 2 weeks later I moved and started nursing. Wow. So it's quite funny because a lot of nurses are like, I've always wanted to be a nurse and I've just had this dream my whole life. I'm like, nope. Yeah. Didn't even apply, but I'm glad it happened. It seems to be suitable for me. I ended up enjoying it, clearly. I didn't drop out. I made it all the way through. So I'm now a registered nurse. I work in orthopedic trauma, so broken bones, which I like because I chose orthopedics because it made sense to me. You go in, someone has a broken hip or a broken leg or a broken arm, they get their operation, it gets fixed, and they go home, which stems into, how I came to be that carnivore nurse. Yeah. I just couldn't, I wanted to avoid the medical wards because they just didn't make sense to me. How I perceived it all is they were there for preventable illness and no one was really talking about it. It was very medication driven and it didn't make sense to me. So I picked orthopedics and the broken bones.
And you're enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's a very, very busy. I don't know if you ever worked in orthopedics, but it's a busy shift. The sort of patients that fall, obviously, usually frail, elderly people, they're quite dependent. Yes. They need a lot of nursing care. Yeah. So it's a busy, busy shift, but I do enjoy it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I work on the following care of people who've had orthopedic procedures. So I work in general rehab.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, that's quite similar then.
yeah, the people that you fix up, we get them, and we continue until we kick them out and send them home.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's where most people want to end up. But that's very interesting. The nursing story I kind of resonate with because that's something I didn't want to do either.
Oh, really?
I actually studied. No. Out of high school, I applied for a bachelor's in music. So I was a musician.
What do you play?
Aspiring to be a musician. So I play guitar and I sing and a bunch of other instruments as well.
That's another thing we have in common.
I knew that was going to come up. I know. A carnivore duet, right?
Duet.
You know what,
That's
Lucy?
so funny.
Most of the people that have actually gone into this podcast, a lot of them, sorry, not most of them, a lot of them have got this musical background. So that's another association that I kind of put out there in the carnivore space. There's a lot of musically talented. Very, yes. But yeah, it's just interesting how nursing just seems to be one of those things. It's not in everyone's mind. It's either it's not in your radar or you were destined for it. I've been passionate about caring for
it
people.
really feels like that. It's either one or the other.
Yeah. But I was also in that spectrum. I was like, no, not for me. But I got into it because Mum was saying that this is a good career. I mean, you could get into different avenues of health, and that is in demand. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh, that's money. That means I if there's demand, that means I'm going to be job secure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I stayed in it, because obviously it's not always easy. And sometimes you're like, is this for me? But I saw a lot of opportunity, like once you can get yourself there, definitely.
And did you enjoy sort of going into different areas, like do you guys, I don't know, we call it placements.
Yeah, placements.
Placements.
Yeah.
And just going out to different areas and experiencing that's probably, now I'm going back 17 years now. I loved my placements and I loved going out into different areas that I knew I wasn't going to work in, like in the theaters. I definitely wasn't going to be a theater nurse and I wasn't going to be in emergency, but I just wanted to just see what it was like.
Yeah, I liked it, but I found it very stressful.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly getting put in a new work environment. Everyone knows what's going on and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
Yeah.
So that aspect of it was like, ooh, but the experience and seeing and learning, I did like. It was very eye-opening.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's move on to, I guess, your health journey, how that all ties in, because you've put in a link there with you working in orthopedics, and I'm curious to know, how does that all link in with that carnivore nurse?
Yeah. So I suppose what brought me to carnivore was two things in my life, like my personal journey and then my experience as a nurse. So I'll start from myself. I had a period of very restrictive food eating when I was a late teenager. I was very insecure. I was self-conscious, and I just started uni, and I was, drinking too much, eating rubbish, and gaining a little bit of weight. It probably wasn't even that much, but, in my head, I'm like freaking out. So I became very restrictive. I was vegetarian. I was just trying to minimize like food intake as much as possible. And I lost a lot of weight and a lot of muscle. And it was not even that long. It was like a 5-month period, but it was intense. And I found myself in a very bad situation. I was just, I'd broken down my body. I felt awful, even though I thought I was doing what I wanted to do to make you happy. It was all tricks of the mind. And I realized, okay, I need to change. This is not good. So then that started my interest in, what do you eat? What's the best way to feed yourself? How do you feel good? I just picked up that much deeper interest in what I was going to eat and diet in general. And that sends you down the rabbit hole of the nutrition world, which is crazy. So I started off very whole foods, a lot of whole food plants. Like that's what I thought was the healthiest foods, because that we are so conditioned to think that. Got to eat 5 a day. It was all about vegetables, all about fruit. So I started doing that. Lots of lentils, huge salad bowls with eating the rainbow. Every day I ate the rainbow.
Yeah.
And I felt better because I was eating more food. Like I just needed more of anything. But then over time, I was not feeling the best. My breakfast used to be porridge and an entire apple. And I could fall asleep, an hour after that. I would be like head on the table trying to do my work. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I'm meant to be feeling good. I was probably like 20 at this time. And I wasn't feeling good. So I thought, something's going on here. And then, so whilst this was all going on, I was obviously training to be a nurse, and I had a placement with the diabetes nurse specialists. And that was eye-opening for me. Throughout my whole experience, that was in my second year. I'd already done 5 placements up until this point. And I was thinking, I was seeing so much chronic disease, so much illness, and no one getting better. Everyone was just getting managed. So it kind of planted the seed in my head. It was like, why is that? Why are they ill in the first place? Or from a selfish point of view as well, I wanted to know, like, I don't want to get ill. What do I have to do to make sure that I look after myself? So it planted the seed of interest and curiosity. I wanted to know why people were ill and how they actually recover. Because in my head, I remember having the thought that, okay, like everyone's going to get disease. Being ill is an inevitable part of living. So when I get type 2 diabetes, I need to know how to not have type 2 diabetes. Like that was kind of how my brain was working, because I thought being this ill was inevitable, like 100% inevitable. But it was that placement in diabetes that really opened my eyes. The message was very strange to me. It was the patients would come in, they'd speak to the specialists, and the message was that they were getting taught, eat whatever you want. Eat the cake, eat the bread, eat the pasta, eat the carbohydrates, and just cover it with insulin. And that's what you do now. Like this is your life. Yeah. Every single meal, count your carbohydrates, and then total the amount of insulin you need dependent on that number, and then inject that into yourself. And I was like, oh, that looks hard. You're doing a lot of maths every day for your meal, and giving yourself insulin it can be fatal. If you give yourself too much, you drop your blood sugar too low, you can die. It's not like just give yourself some insulin, you'll be fine. Like, no, that's like a serious thing. And you have to do that all day, every day, if you're going to be eating carbohydrates like that. So I left that placement feeling, that doesn't seem right. There must be a better way. And in my head the whole time, I'm like, but if the sugar wasn't in the blood in the first place, maybe they wouldn't have to take the insulin. Like I just couldn't, like the reasoning and the logic didn't make sense to me. Yeah. So that just I was now like super curious and confused. So I needed to kind of figure out in myself what was going on. And that led me to ketogenic diets, which also at the same time I was revising for some neurology exam, I think. And I was introduced into ketogenic diets there as well for seizure control for kids with epilepsy. And I thought that was so fascinating that a diet could have such a profound impact on a neurological condition. Because for so long, you also think, oh, diet's just about weight loss and that's about it, really. It doesn't really serve another purpose than that. And then maybe it tastes good. Yeah. But no, diet is so much more than that. And it was amazing to me that it could do that to your brain. So both those things came together to land me at ketogenic diets. And then I had my morning porridge, which was sending me to sleep. And I was like, what's going on here? So with a bit of research, I realized that was my blood sugar spikes and crashes. Yeah. And then that led me also to ketogenic diet. So all my worlds were colliding together. And I just became totally fascinated. I thought it was so interesting. And so, I went down that rabbit hole, learning about the history of the food pyramid. That was eye-opening. Learning about ketosis, learning about ketones. It was just, I was so amazed by the whole thing. Wow. And then continuing my nursing, and continuing seeing the chronic disease, it just became so clear to me the importance of our diet and the impact, the really severe impact that they're having on our health. So long story. Oh, actually, one more thing. I then wrote my dissertation in my last year on what are the barriers and facilitators to implementing low carbohydrate diets for adults living with type 2 diabetes, because I understood that they could put your diabetes into remission.
Yes.
But then I was like, why have I never seen that? Why has no one spoken about it in my practice? Why are we giving everyone insulin and not even mentioning low carbohydrate meals? So I wanted to know why. So during the research for that is when I stumbled upon a video by Dr. Paul Mason on fiber. Because at the time I was ketogenic, but like mostly, but very heavy on the vegetables. I really thought they were essential. I thought I needed fiber and I like had to eat it. And even though my body was like, oh, I really want more eggs, or I really want more this, I still was a bit like, oh, but you can't eat too many eggs and you need to make sure you're eating your vegetables. So I was still a bit caught up in old beliefs. But that video just blew my mind. I was just like this. It made so much sense to me. So that's what really got me down the carnivore, like all the way carnivore road. And here I am now talking about it on Instagram.
That is amazing, because that is the same video that got me
really
that switch. Yes.
Dr. Paul Mason's amazing. The way he explains everything.
Oh my gosh. And I clearly remember that moment when he put up the statistics or the study. I think it was N equals 70. I don't remember, about associations of idiopathic
fiber
constipation,
intake,
and fiber intake. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
It just goes against everything you ever thought was true.
Yeah.
And you just had to stop and consider, like, maybe you're wrong.
And
you had to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I'm looking after these patients all day. They're eating a bit of fiber, but we are loading them up with nutrients and things just to get their bowels moving every single day. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, and it just clicked to me, what happens if they don't have fiber? Or what happens when I don't have fiber? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, I've been thinking about like the case for low fiber diets in hospitals and how, I mean, this is so far down the line. I think we should address sugar first. Yeah. But the amount of nursing time and resource that low fiber diets for patients could have would be profound.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely. Yeah, but before we carry on, because I really can, and I can keep going and going and going. But so you figured out, you watched the video with Paul Mason on the Low Carb Down Under channel, because I know that exact video you're talking about. Mm-hmm. What happened after?
I was like, well, see you later, broccoli. So I committed to, I was like, well, I'll just try it. I obviously then went down like the carnivore rabbit hole, and Dr. Chafee's podcast, Plant Free MD. That was my like number one carnivore resource. I listened to all of them. I like that he did so many. I mean, he told you all the facts, but he just did so many interviews with people.
Yes,
that's what I really like. Just hearing the stories and just being amazed of people's healing journeys, and then comparing it to my experience in healthcare and seeing nothing even close to that. It was just amazing. So I was happy to leave vegetables to the side and try it. Another thing that was going on in my life at the time was I was still, even though I was much lower carb and like really like focusing on those sort of foods, I was still eating ultra processed foods. And I had like a compulsion to eat these foods. I couldn't control it. I would crave them. I would think about them. Even if I didn't want to, I knew I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't not. I felt out of control. And, you eat one and then you've eaten the whole bag, because that's how they're designed to be eaten. Yeah. But they've been totally normalized, that they're promoted like, oh, you just have one, have a little treat. They're for sharing. They'll put that on the packet, but they know that people are not going to do that. And they know that people well, a lot of people, there are some blessed people out there that I know can just eat one. But for myself, and I'm sure many, many other people, that's just not the reality.
No.
And I hated it. It was a horrible thing. And even if I would not eat it, it would be on my mind. And that still didn't feel like freedom, you know? So I kind of had that in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, I thought it was just normal. Like, I thought this must be life now. But I had it in the back of my mind, like maybe this will help. And so I just committed to a 30-day carnivore. I ate fatty red meat, eggs, bacon, and a bit of cheese, pretty much. That was all it was. Whenever I was hungry till whenever I was full. And it was such a great month. I'd never felt so satisfied with food, so just like free. And it tasted amazing. And it just felt exactly what I wanted. I did have like keto flu though for about a week and a half. I did not feel good at the start. But after that, and even still during it, I was still enjoying the food. You just feel bad. But after that, by the end of the month, I was like, I'm just going to keep going because this is pretty nice. And here I am a year later, still doing it.
That's amazing. So the fear of getting into the diet, did you have this, I don't know, this cholesterol radar in your mind at that time?
I think I was kind of already over that because I was still in the keto space. So that kind of debunked that for me. It didn't really make sense to me why, a whole food that we've been eating for so long was suddenly going to be our biggest downfall. I just didn't buy into it. There was also another doctor I forgot to mention, Dr. Asim Malhotra. Have you heard of him?
Yes, absolutely.
He wrote a book, A Statin-Free Life, and he talks a lot about statins.
Yes.
Which are the drugs to lower your cholesterol. And I read that book. And this was, maybe a year before fighting Carnivore. So I was already I just didn't, I was already a bit anti-statin at that point and not believing the whole cholesterol thing. And I understood that cholesterol was not what we thought it was. But I think I was still, a bit in that cycle of, or the belief, maybe slightly, because I do remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm eating 6 eggs. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was able to drop that pretty quickly.
That's good. And you were ketogenic for quite some time. I mean,
mostly, but but I never went all the way because of the ultra processed food and because it's hard to know really why, I guess. I mean, I was still quite young and I was only like half in it. But once I fully committed and realized what you can do for yourself, I was,
That's cool. That's really cool. I wish, this lifestyle sort of came to me earlier on as well, because I had a lot more time on this earth to actually go through, the indoctrination of, being told cholesterol is going to block your arteries, which is so crazy, right? Because I was just thinking about this the other day, and I know I'm going off tangent here, but I worked in a stroke unit before. The stroke protocol, for those who don't know, obviously you get 2 different types of strokes. You've got your hemorrhagic stroke, which is a bleed or a clot. The treatment for a stroke is to obviously anticoagulate, thin the blood, or as early as possible, if you can, try to retrieve the clot or dissolve it with medication. Anyways, fast forward, nursing treatment, right? We are not meticulously looking at lipids. And it just got me thinking, I'm like, hang on a second. If cholesterol or the lipids are such a huge, driving force of, these events, supposedly they block your arteries. Wouldn't that be one of the first things that we would be looking at, in the blood panels, as health professionals, and be closely tracking it? No. The one thing that we do the most in the stroke unit is we meticulously track blood sugar levels.
Wow.
So, like we...
For every patient, not just diabetic patients.
Stroke patients, all stroke patients, Yeah, blood sugars. And if you are, I guess, identified as having high blood sugar levels, I don't remember the actual protocol in terms of what the ranges are, but you cross a certain threshold and you're put on an insulin pump, basically. And you are even more closely monitoring blood sugar levels. So in an acute situation, sugar is a huge problem, metabolically. We freaking know this. We know this, but it's not really. It didn't really connect to me now that I'm like, wait, if it's such a problem in an acute phase, why is it not a problem in the chronic phases? Because people are spiking blood sugars, every single day, and the beauty and the resilience of the human body is that's it in display. Like, anyways. Yeah, nutrition training. We obviously didn't get much of it as nurses, but yet here we are, two nurses talking about nutrition. Like we've just gone through our own.
Just to add, what I find crazy as well is the medical team, the medical training for the doctors. They get minimal training too. Which is even scarier. I have one of my best friends. She's training to be a doctor.
Yeah,
and I think she's in her 5th year, so she's pretty far through.
Yeah,
and I explained to her the other day the difference between a fat, a protein, and a carbohydrate. And then she sent me a text message the other day saying, "If you took your blood glucose level, would it be 0?"
Oh.
And God bless her, not on her, but I was jaw to the floor. Like, I don't know. Wow. That's a bit concerning. 5 years into medicine training, and she thought my blood sugar would be 0 because I don't eat carbohydrate. If that's a problem from the universities and the medical education.
Oh, look, I've had the same experience too. Like I talk to interns about it all the time. Whenever carnivore comes up, oh, you're that carnivore guy at work. I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's me. Oh, aren't you worried about diabetic ketoacidosis? I'm like, should I? Why should I be worried? And he's like, well, the ketones. I'm like, don't you think like I would have been dead by now if I would have had ketoacidosis? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm like, yeah. So. That answers your question.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I mean, obviously nursing is not and medicine aren't the only ones that don't really get trained in nutrition, but a lot of, a friend of mine said it really well in a conversation that we had. Nutrition is medicine because like me and you are seeing, people are...
It's chemical interactions happening in the body, like no different to if you gave yourself a drug. Like we need to look at everything we're putting in ourselves as what the effect is it having? What is it going to have? Should we give it to them? And in what quantity? Like every time we're trained to give a medication at work, it's a big deal. Medication management, safe medication use is huge in nursing for a good reason. These are powerful chemicals that are going to change the way your body's functioning, and food is no different. And in fact, maybe even more important, more powerful.
100%. I mean, again, I've been nursing for a long time, but I've never seen anyone reverse type 2 diabetes. I've never seen anyone get off medications.
No.
Until I see people on the carnivore diet saying, oh, hey, look, I've been off insulin for this much. I'm like, no, that is a miracle. See, that's the indoctrination. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. I say these things out loud. I'm like, why did I ever think that before? Like diabetes.
You just trust what you learn, I suppose, don't we?
Yeah. That's
you just think, why would it not be right?
Oh man, it just baffles me.
You go into healthcare and you see it with your eyes. You just can't help but. Well, I mean, some people don't, but I couldn't help but be like, this just doesn't. The logic wasn't there for me. The whole system feels very inefficient. People are getting ill and staying ill. Why do we want that?
Well, okay, now we're getting into it. Let's talk about, what's changed for you. Yeah, obviously you've experienced some health benefits on the carnivore diet. Sorry, I don't think we listed them. What did you experience when carnivore?
I would say the biggest thing for me, luckily because I was 21 when 21 or 20? 21 when I started eating this way. So physically, like I didn't have any crazy conditions, thank God.
Yeah.
But like I said, with the ultra processed food, it was a lot of mental things. Like I had this problem with ultra processed foods. I compelled to eat them, didn't want to. This horrible battle in my life all the time.
Yeah.
That went away. I do not crave ultra processed foods. I do not want them. They could be right here and I'd be like, oh yeah, look at that. And then not have a single desire to eat them, which I never thought I would be like that because I was so attached to them.
Yeah.
So that was huge. And then the mental clarity I've experienced, I'm so focused, not all the time. I'm still I can still be away with it sometimes, but especially in the morning, I'm just like on it. I get things done. I can think clearly, which is really helpful for life. I mean, that's how we're meant to be. We were living in like a brain fog for a lot of it with the sugar and with the a lot of it was actually because so much of my thoughts was taken up with food. I was even when I was ketogenic, I wasn't eating enough protein. I was not, and not eating enough fat either. I was still, because of the vegetables as well. I was filling up on pretty unnecessary foods because the vegetables, if you don't want to eat them, you don't have to eat them. And instead of protein and fat, and because I went through that restrictive period of eating, I really broke my body down. I had not fully replenished myself. When I went carnivore for the first time, it opened up my appetite like insanely because I was nutrient deficient. And I was so hungry and my body was so ready to just take as much as it could. Now it had the chance. So, and like going through that, it wasn't always easy because that's quite like I gained weight. Yeah. It was like quite an intense thing to experience, but parts of my brain were like freaking out still. But I just knew I had to go through it. It was like, it felt like it almost felt like a second puberty. Like I felt like I had to go through another whole like stage of maturing I just knew I had to do it, even if like parts of my twisted brain were like, no, don't do it. And that going through that just gave me another whole avenue of life and like a healthier body. Yeah. And it showed me intuitive eating, which is huge. Yeah. I talk about it a bit on my Instagram. Intuitive eating is life-changing. And it's kind of sad that I'm so amazed by intuitive eating because we should have been doing that for our entire lives. Yeah. Yeah. But I wasn't, because of ultra-processed food, because of stigma around diet and thinking that you don't have to eat that much, or you shouldn't eat that much, and you need to control this and control that. Like we're brought up with so many weird perceptions surrounding food intake, especially as a young female. Yeah. To just let all that go and eat for my body and for my appetite with the correct foods, that was liberation. Yeah, I can imagine. So that was the biggest thing, I would say. And then now, stable energy feels amazing. Not going through sugar highs, sugar lows, knowing you don't have to eat all the time. You can be like you get hungry, but the hunger is just kind of subtle. And especially at work, for any shift workers, I'm sure you agree with this. Yes. You don't know when you can eat sometimes. Yeah. You may go hours for a break. And I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, I could eat right now, but I can't. So fine. And I'm still focused. I can still do my job. I can put the hunger to the side. And I know I'll just eat. I have my meat waiting for me in my bag and it's going to be fine. Before that, if I was hungry at work, when I was eating pasta and sandwiches and cookies at work, it was like, it's all you could think about. And you'd be snacking on chocolate and you would be, you couldn't focus because you were so hungry because your blood sugar was unstable. Yeah. So that's been huge. Yeah. So that's really good that we sort of went this direction that, the carnivore diet really,
not only impacted your life personally, but also how you performed at work in your professional life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, because that's my niche where I target in my coaching is to help people, nurses in particular, navigate through their daily lives with a species appropriate, species specific diet, i.e. the carnivore diet. And, it unlocks something that, it just gives you so much more flexibility with time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, intuitive
Yeah,
eating.
exactly.
You've got so much more
Chopping
time.
vegetables takes forever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I ain't doing that.
Yeah, grocery shopping and picking out the veggies that you want.
And do you do here? It's 12-hour shifts. I don't know for your nursing shifts.
Some areas do. We don't.
Yeah,
not for me.
So if you have if you have 3 12-hour shifts in a row, you have such minimal time at home. Awake. You need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And just knowing that you're going to go home and cook eggs, eat some meat, and that's it.
Yeah.
Is so easy. You don't have to chop anything. You don't have to think about some crazy recipe. It's like, it saves so much time, and then you can go to sleep.
Yeah. Or you can be even more lazy like me and just have it on slow cooker. Just leave everything in slow cooker.
You could be, you can make it so easy if you want to with some planning ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. But, going back into, you're right. When you are eating carbohydrates, you tend to get that brain fog. You feel fatigued, but no worries because you've got chocolate everywhere. You've got sweets, treats, desserts everywhere you go. I mean, if the patients aren't supplying
energy drinks, the nursing and energy drinks is a sad thing.
Oh my gosh, I wish I still had this photo. I put it up on my personal Instagram a long time ago. I had 3 of these monster cans in one shift. Just to
was that normal?
That was normal for me. Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's crazy. Luckily, I never got into energy drinks. But chocolate and cookies, that was good.
Yeah. It was,
and pasta. That's what I bought for lunch.
Yeah. But it's there's definitely a lot of struggle. Or personally, I went through the struggle because I was a sugar addict, going through the motions, getting to work, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got FOMO right now. I can see all my colleagues just digging into the sweets jar. I can smell toast when I walk into the building.
The smell of toast, like every shift. It does smell quite good.
It does, and it kills me.
It's so easy to say no.
Now it is.
Now.
But starting off, it was really, really difficult. But once you unlock that, I don't know what to call it, but there's a certain point like
ketosis.
Ketosis, fat adaptation.
Fat adaptation. Yeah, when your ketones are high and your sugar is stable. You have actually shifted your whole metabolism in your body. You are kind of living in an alternative reality, as crazy as that sounds, but you're experiencing your body and your energy in a whole different way.
Yes.
And until you actually put in the effort and the discipline to put yourself into that state, it's quite hard to picture what everyone's talking about when they say because when people find out that I don't eat sugar, they're like, oh my God, but don't you just want to eat chocolate? And but don't you just want to eat that? I'm like, no. And they can't comprehend it because they're so used to craving sugar and being stuck in sugar, and they can't, and because we've been doing it for so long, they actually can't picture, they don't know what it's like to not do that. And I was the same. And I never thought I would be able to look at chocolate and genuinely not want to eat it. Yeah. And now here I am, totally fine to leave it.
You didn't do the dark chocolate. You didn't do dark chocolate to.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
When I was more keto, a lot more. I had a lot more vices, I guess you could call them. And in that transitioned from trying to get away from ultra processed food, but it's interesting for me. I had to go all the way to get rid of it. I really had to go all the way. It was such a grip on me.
I tell you what, I don't know why I brought up dark chocolate, but the darker I went, the more I realized. I remember one time I felt like I was asking myself, what am I doing with my life? Staring at this dark chocolate.
I would eat 100% dark chocolate trying to get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
You're seeking dopamine. It's crazy. Because we're so conditioned to seek dopamine in food.
Exactly. I was just
we
about to lead to that. Yeah, I was about to lead to that. You know, I'm like, I'm a drug addict. I am addicted to this stuff. And I'm looking at the label, carbohydrates. Ooh, you know, this is low carb. But
it's amazing when you know what you want, you know what's good for you, and yet your actions and your mind are trying to like, oh, but you could just. That's why Carnivore is amazing, because it's just like, nope.
Yeah.
This is what you eat, and this is what you don't eat. You can't mess around that line. You can if you want, but you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
If your goals are truly to overcome these things and to change your life and to change your habits. Yeah. I needed that like clear guidance, eat this, don't eat that, and move on. Like I really needed that. And I think a lot of people need it too.
They do.
Especially in the keto world now, with the like keto desserts, and like keto's now become like a big marketing scheme. Oh. And things are getting labeled ketogenic, and they're just chemicals with sweeteners. Yeah. Like keto's kind of losing its authenticity, I suppose. You could never do that to Carnivore.
Oh, no, you can't.
Could you?
No, well, once people start labeling things as Carnivore friendly, like, you know, I see it all the time on social media because I've been Carnivore for some time. Coffee is, Carnivore friendly. I'm like,
no.
It's not Carnivore.
I think the one thing on Carnivore that could get like abused, if you want to use that word, but not really, is dairy.
Dairy, yeah.
It is dairy. Like that's debatable with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can include it if you want, but I think it just depends what you're looking to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like getting into the diet dogma, I think we should just leave it be, guys. If someone decides to include something in their diet that isn't Carnivore, let's not be dogmatic about it. But at the same time, let's call it as it is. Like coffee is not Carnivore. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to know like what to shoot for.
Yeah.
Because you need to have I needed to know what the good is, and then you can decide what you do with that information.
Yeah. That's it.
And add in whatever you want, but know what you're doing, and that's fine. And that's like I kind of look at diet sometimes as like, are you consenting to what you're putting in yourself? Like, do you understand what you're putting in yourself? Because like in nursing, consent is obviously a huge thing, and there's informed consent. And I've been thinking about this recently, like so many people are not consenting to the foods that they're eating because of the lack of understanding and education to what these companies are actually selling them and the repercussions that they're having in their body. Yeah. Like they're not consenting to that, but they don't know it.
They don't know.
So you just need to know the facts and know the truth and know what's going on, and then make up your own mind. Now you're informed.
Absolutely right. What do your patients think when Carnivore comes in conversation? Because I'm sure it does.
I've spoken to Carnivore to one patient.
Oh, wow.
I don't bring up because I'm in orthopedics. It's just sometimes it's also just like it feels it's like such a hard thing at work. I just don't know if there's a place for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a place for it, but is it my place? I don't really know. I'm kind of in a weird situation at work. Yeah. But someone, it was the other day I was speaking to one of my patients. I can't even remember how it came up. I think he was saying how he was so hungry and the hospital food was so bad. Oh yeah, because the food on my ward and most wards I've ever worked in, the breakfast options are cereal, roll, or toast or porridge, which is carbs, no protein, minimal fat, sugar and seed oil, really. It's horrendous.
They don't get bacon and egg options?
No. Do you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are living in royalty. No, there's no meat option. There's no protein option.
Wow.
The only thing that's good is the butter that you can put on your roll with your jam.
No, you're kidding. You're kidding. There's no...
I've worked in one hospital ward where they had scrambled eggs, and that was in oncology, in cancer. That was once. There's no other option.
That's crazy. And
we have issues.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but
we have big issues.
So what the patients say when you
come
up in conversation?
No, that's what they say. Most people love it. So this guy was like, he was hungry because he just didn't like the options. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I only eat bacon. No, I only eat beef and eggs.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, what? No vegetables? I was like, nope, no vegetables. He was like, oh, you should know better because I'm a nurse.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's funny. And then I was like, well, actually, funny you say that. I think humans are carnivores. And then I went into it, and he was like happy to talk about it. I don't know if he really like clocked on or cared so much. We found it interesting. And then I gave him an extra huge portion of beef from the leftovers that lunch because he loved meat. He wanted meat.
Yeah.
So there was leftovers and it was going to get thrown away. So I gave him a huge bowl and he was so happy.
Oh, that's so good.
But that's the only patient I've spoken to. I've been speaking to the other nurses more now. That's good. I used to like avoid the subject and hide it. I didn't want to go into it.
Yeah.
But since making my account and, realizing like I just grew in confidence, I suppose, because I've never met in person, like another person who eats this way, let alone at work in the nursing environment. Like it's really weird if you don't eat all the chocolate.
Yeah.
So I just didn't I couldn't be bothered having those conversations, I guess. And I didn't want to draw the attention.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I've grown in confidence now about the whole thing from making my Instagram and realizing like, you know what, like this is a problem. And I genuinely think people need to know about it. So like, I want people to ask me now because I would love to tell them if they want to listen, I'll tell them. Yeah. So I've been speaking more about it, and obviously like people at work have been finding my Instagrams.
You're not on private, so
no, I kind of thought it was inevitable eventually.
Yeah no, that's really awesome, and look, I commend you for it because it is very difficult. I can definitely relate. I can relate to that because it's not easy, especially we are in a difficult situation because what we're doing goes against what the mainstream advice is.
The makeup of the health system. Yeah. So it's such a strange position.
It is a very strange position, but you're right. The demand is there because the amount of conversations I have with people, I'm sure this is the same in your ward or whatever area you work in. Everyone complains of same issues. Got pain. I've got a nurse's back, nurse's shoulder.
Mm-hmm. They're counting calories. They're trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're starving themselves.
It's this whole culture. Yeah, it's very sad. Oh, what are you eating today? Oh, what are you eating today? They're weight loss or basically just diet in general is something that I think nurses are genuinely trying to find out what works for them, and they really do want to get better.
Mm-hmm. I have met so many nurses on a calorie counting diet. Yeah, they're counting their crisps and they're counting their tea and biscuits, and I'm just like, oh, that's so sad because you're just starving yourself of nutrition. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not helping yourself.
No.
And it's like we need to put. Like your body only knows nutrition. It doesn't know calories. You have to put nutrition first.
That's it.
And nutrient-dense food first.
Yeah. And and the other thing is the intermittent fasting. That's a huge popular thing that a lot of I've seen a lot of nurses do, and I did it myself too.
What do you think about it?
Well, right now, I think if you do it, it's not a diet. It's a method you could use to definitely get yourself in a state of ketosis, depending on how, you've structured your regime. But that is only I guess, the big influencer is definitely what you put in your mouth. So if you are going to shove in 300 grams of carbohydrates in your eating window, then you've just defeated the purpose of the whole thing, because now you've spiked up insulin. You're going to be retaining fluids. Yes, you'll lose a little bit of water. You might lose a bit of weight, but that is feeding, to me, depending on how you structure your eating windows, you could be putting yourself in some serious health problems. Just my opinion. What about you?
By what? By like slowing your metabolism, do you mean?
Metabolism, but also, metabolism generally. Yeah, I think so. In the long run, anyway. And it's becoming so popular.
Sorry, are you talking about like 16, 18?
Yeah, 16, 18. Yeah, 16, 18. And if I guess the more carbohydrates you include in your diet, the more harder it is going to be for you
to fast.
Yeah. And
I think if someone, sorry.
No, you go. I'm done. That's my point.
I was just saying, I think if someone is eating carbohydrates, I think it's actually a smart idea to have eating windows. I think having that time to allow your body to deplete its glycogen stores, to deplete its sugars that you're storing before you load up again is beneficial. And when I ate carbs, I did that too. And it made me feel, just because it made me feel good, like I would feel like I needed to use what I had before eating more. Like that made me feel good. I kind of recognized that in myself.
Yeah.
Obviously that was just me, but I think once you're carnivore though, I don't think you need to fast.
No.
You can if you want to. There's benefits. I do think there's benefits of fasting. Increase ketosis if you want, autophagy if you want, but increase autophagy. I think there's always autophagy happening when your insulin is low, which it will be in a low carbohydrate state.
Yes.
It's not essential though, I don't think.
No. I mean, I don't force it anymore. It comes naturally that you tend to eat less frequently. But if you are starting off, I think eating the more important, I guess, goal is nutrition, and to get in, the amount of food,
the essential things your body needs to function. It's just the essentials, and that's what I feel like one thing we've forgotten is like why we eat food.
Yes.
As basic as that sounds, we eat food to gain the nutrition that your body cannot make itself. Like before anything else, that's why we eat food.
Yeah.
But now, and I grew up kind of thinking, food is for losing weight.
Yeah.
Like the perspective of food and its role of weight management is quite sinister, actually. Like the fact that we have put that at the top.
Yeah.
Because if you have that outlook, you can eat Oreos all day.
Yeah.
But it's in your calories and you're going to lose weight. And that's the point, right? And that's dangerous. It's dangerous, like psychologically, it's dangerous for people.
Yeah.
Thinking that they have to control all their food and weigh up all their food depending on their weight. All that like toxic stuff that we fall for. I've fallen for it. Because it's just sad because you're just leaving yourself deficient.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're just not going to feel your best.
No.
And life is for feeling good. And I feel like we have lost an aspect of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're talking about this in a global scale. Like, I cannot believe that we are having this conversation.
We couldn't be further apart.
Yeah. But the message still remains the same. And this is what I really love about doing these podcasts is, honestly, like we've only been talking for an hour, but I feel like we've connected on so many points. And, like the conversations, I'm sure could go on and on and on and on. And I do hope, Lucy, that you do get to meet carnivores that are local to you.
Yeah. Well, one day I'm going to come to Australia. I have a friend in Australia. So I'm going to do a carnivore tour.
You should. You
I
definitely
have
should.
to check in on everyone.
Yeah.
They're all there. Simon, Elsbeth,
Yeah.
to do it all.
Yeah.
You,
I see
be so
Elspeth
funny.
down the road. She's only
Dr.
she's here.
Chafee, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. You know what?
I would love to.
Let's do it. Let's petition for Lucy to come to Australia.
Yes. I feel like I have to. It's like calling me.
Yeah. But I mean,
Except the weather. I'm used to the cold climates. I'm very pale and freckly.
Oh, look.
I don't know how to tolerate it.
I'm technically from New Zealand. I mean, that's what's on my passport. So I'm actually, yeah. So I lived in New Zealand for most of my life. And I've been here for quite some time now, but I'm still not acclimated.
Are you, sorry?
I'm in Brisbane, Australia.
Brisbane.
So that's in the East Coast. Subtropical weather, and I've still not acclimated to it. Like I'm still, like I
have no hope. Like what's to come? Well, I would not come in summer. Like
I
would come in. I would come in the winter.
Yeah,
I'd still get sunburn and no.
Yeah. So now that you've gone through this phase of getting to understand a little bit more about human nutrition through the lens of low carb eating or carnivore diet, has it impacted your outlook on your, I guess, nursing practice?
Yeah, definitely. More so it's just because I'm so interested in it. Like I'm so drawn to it. I don't even feel like I have a choice but to think and talk about it.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Like, and you go to work every day and you see people suffering from chronic disease that is caused by the very food that we are now handing them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, I can't see past it. So from that, it's definitely impacted where I want my nursing career to go. Like I call myself a carnivore nurse on Instagram, and that's kind of what I feel like I want to be. Like I want to be like, because a nurse is supportive and it's caring, and they're educational, and they point you in the direction of health.
Yes.
And I want to do that, and I feel like doing it with carnivore is a really powerful way of doing that I feel like I can't actually achieve at my job at the moment. Well, not at my job at the moment, to be fair, because it's orthopedics.
Yeah.
And like people need to get their bones fixed, which is why I like it.
Yeah.
But because it's also just, I'm just so interested in it. I feel compelled to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a space for it for people. Not everyone. If you don't want to do it, then fine. But I know that people, from going through my Instagram and how many people reach out to me and ask questions. I'm sure you're the same. I mean, you have your own coaching program. Yeah. People want to know. People want to take control of their health.
Yes.
And which is so amazing. And to facilitate that, to help people do that, that's kind of the direction I can see my nursing career going in.
That's so, that is really heartwarming to, hear all that, because, the fundamentals of nursing, I think, is not overlooked. I'm looking for a better word for this, but I don't think people, I think we've been so driven by this medicine model of treating patients with medications, and that has influenced how we practice as nurses.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put it into perspective, I for a large part of my nursing career, or not a large, but a good chunk of my nursing career, it was in nursing education. And I don't know what you guys call it in the UK, but we call them facilitators. So if you had someone you went to your clinical placements, you had someone assessing you, or I don't know, whatever terminology you guys use, preceptors or mentors. Yeah. So that was in here. You've got, your facilitator that, I guess, not only assesses students, but they, obviously they mentor them. They train them up, they educate. And the one thing that I noticed, which, wasn't a surprise, was most of the students, all they want to do is medications. All they want to do is learn drugs. All they want to do is know about these procedures. And, and that's what I mean about the medical model being so heavily, being a huge influence. Medicine focus. And so they've lost that fundamental. That is a better word for it. They've lost
that. Is such a good point. I've been thinking about that recently as well, because in my job, most of my medication rounds are like a couple paracetamol and some laxatives.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have a patient who's got chronic disease, and then you give them all their statins and everything too. But it's not a medicine focused ward, and I love that. I just talk to people.
Yes,
you help them go to the toilet. I mean, for non-nurses, like, this is like strange, but like the fundamentals of life that you take for granted, suddenly someone cannot do. You do not realize how difficult that is. And like washing patients, I love to wash patients.
Yeah.
I love chatting to them.
Yes,
washing patients, and just for someone who's not a nurse, the idea of washing someone else is like, what?
It's strange. Yeah,
it's strange. It is strange, and like when you start learning it, it's like, this is really weird. But then you learn the dynamic, and it's a relationship between a nurse and a patient, and it's actually a really beautiful thing.
Yes.
And to me, like, that's the point of nursing. Like, you're helping someone live and regain health and feel like a human. And I like that part of nursing. Like, it's so human. It is so raw.
Yes.
It's kind of ugly. It's, it's like, it just is what it is. It's just so real.
Thank you.
And I love that. I love that so much. And I hate medication rounds.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, we have a module called the Activities of Daily Living. Did you get taught that?
Yeah.
And it's just the fundamentals of everything that we do to live. And it's almost like, eating, drinking, going to the toilet, dressing yourself, clothing yourself, having a safe environment, all of these things that we do for ourselves without even thinking about it. And suddenly you can't, and suddenly someone else needs to do for you. Like, that sort of relationship is it's really interesting, and has nothing to do with medication.
Absolutely.
And that's what nursing is. It's fundamentally is these things. And one part of that is eating and drinking.
Correct.
And it's so important.
Yeah.
And nurses don't really have that one down, I don't think.
Nope. Because if you work in a ward, and I'm sure, again, this is going to be a global understanding, but your priority is medications. It is always going to be the nurse is always after they get their clinical handover. It's going to be, all right. Yes, we got to plan for our shift and whatnot, but immediately in a nurse's mind, do medications.
The first thing I do on a shift is give out the painkillers.
The painkillers, that's it.
The painkillers. Which they need, to be fair.
Yeah, well, to be fair, orthopedics, they're going to need...
Orthopedics is logical. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. The real nursing, I guess.
And another reason why I chose orthopedics is because of Dr. Chafee and Dr. Baker.
Oh, really?
I'm a carnivore struggling in the modern medical world. What do I do? And I looked up to them. I was like, well, they seem to manage it. And naturally, it makes sense. Broken bones. That makes sense.
Oh, so Sean Baker. He was an orthopedic surgeon, wasn't he?
He's orthopedic surgeon.
That's right.
Yeah. And then Dr. Chafee still is.
Yeah.
They helped me guide me into my career choice.
See, I wish I had them.
Thank you for that.
Oh, well, let's shout them out.
Shout out to them.
I actually get into this later on, but we'll get into it now. Let's name your top 3 most influential people. It doesn't have to be social media influencers, but just that have helped you be better as a person who promotes the carnivore diet, I guess.
Well, number one probably has to be Dr. Chafee, just because of his podcast, the amount of information he has, and it's amazing. He's so interesting. I've learned the most from him.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to say Paul Mason because he was the one that introduced Dr. Paul Mason because he introduced me. But he's not got that much like stuff, unfortunately.
No, he's under the radar.
He's quite under the radar. He's not on Instagram. He's not like big on the like influencer. I don't know the word for it. It's like he's not a carnivore influencer. Like he just does lectures and they're on that YouTube channel, Low Carb Down Under.
Yeah.
But he's so interesting. I can't not say him. And then maybe Ken Berry.
Yeah.
I really like his the way he gives the information. It's so accessible to everyone.
Yes.
Because this is kind of the angle I like to take when I'm talking about it online is what would I tell my patients?
Yes.
And when I think about the people that I nurse all the time and, the people that need it the most, they have very minimal education on diet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they don't know, like they think that when they need energy, they go for a chocolate bar. Like they don't know, which is fine. Like it's not their fault because they're just miseducated. But so what do they need to hear? That's why I always think like when I'm deciding what I'm going to say, I need to make it so what a child and my patient will understand.
Yeah.
Because, and then if they can understand it, then it's going to go out there and it will be understood.
Yeah.
So Dr. Ken Berry I think feel like he takes a very similar route and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's very accessible.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So maybe those three.
Mm.
Oh, but Bella from Steak and Butter Girl. She's also good because she's like the female on the scene.
She is. Yeah.
And I feel like I've learned a lot from her and like I just liked how open and honest she is.
Yeah.
And less so about like the science and the facts, but more just her personal experience.
Yeah, personal experience. That's it.
Which I think is really, really valuable for someone.
Yeah.
Makes it feel more human.
Yeah, that's it. I do appreciate that from actually all the carnivore influencers, anyone that talks about the carnivore diet, because, I always say that experience is the best teacher. And, if you are able to teach, then you are an expert. So you're an expert on yourself. So I think anyone who's promoting the carnivore diet, is an expert on themselves because, as we know it, there's not many studies on the carnivore diet,
Nope. Just the Harvard.
Just the Harvard one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There needs to be more because the findings from that was very intriguing and it can't be overlooked. So more studies would be great.
More studies, but honestly, you can even go down to just case studies. Like you've got people that are reversing certain conditions. And I just, it doesn't have to be a study a research study, but just a written paper on it, on this particular person who did this. That's what I'm, thinking should happen because it's going to be very hard to get funding and, ethics approvals for, I don't know how far you.
I mean, nutritional research is just, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
But people, I think for a lot of people, they're very cool. They want the studies to sway them.
Yeah.
So if there are more, it will just help.
Yeah.
Even if they're actually not like the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that like, okay, fine, here's a study then. If that's what you want, here's a study. Even though nutritional research from whatever angle you're looking at it, whether you're vegan, whether you're carnivore, they're all extremely flawed.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Extremely, extremely flawed. So
yeah.
Stories are good. Anecdotes. That's why I love Dr. Chafee because he had so many long interviews with so many different people with so many different diseases.
Yeah.
And just sharing how they cured them.
Yeah.
Or if not dramatically increased improved their outcome. It was just mind blowing.
That's what I do actually. If I've got a patient who's got a certain condition, I go, hey, watch this doctor, and I won't say anything. I won't say carnivore. I'll just say, I saw a video on YouTube about, say, a person with glioblastoma. Here, watch that. And I'll leave them to it.
And then it just opens up their mind and they can decide for themselves. It's such a good way to do it because you're not telling them anything. You're just like, oh, this was interesting. You should check it out. And then it almost is like making them think it was their idea in a way,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
People like to think that they came up with it.
Well,
it helps them.
That's it.
So
yeah. But there's so many people to shout out in the carnivore space. I think, those top 3. You know what? Every time I ask this question, no one ever goes for a top 3. It's always, I forgot about this person.
Yeah,
there's just so many. It's so hard. Yeah. And that's how,
Who's yours? Who's your top 3?
Ooh, that I've never been asked that before. So
that carnivore nurse.
Yeah, that carnivore nurse.
This girl over here. No.
Health coach John. No. No.
Oh yeah, sorry, I should have said you.
No. I'm not going to call myself out.
Health coach John.
Yeah. Okay, so my top 3. Number 1 is hands down Professor Bart K. So
yeah, I did think he crossed my mind, but he is a legend. He is a legend.
He is. I would have to say, after watching Paul Mason fiber videos, I don't know why, but this guy with a teddy bear and he was swearing and whatnot. I was like, what the hell is this? He's on the he's talking about the carnivore diet, and oh my gosh, this video about the Randall cycle.
Yeah, it was the Randall cycle that really was like solidified my, like, you don't need to eat fruit.
Yeah.
Like that's what really just like, it was like, yeah, nah.
And at that stage as well, I was still on keto-ish. Like I was already in that transition period from keto to carnivore, but the whole cholesterol fat thing was still, in loop in my head, red alert, don't go too far into it. But once I watched the Randall cycle videos, I actually reached out to him and I did consultations with him.
Oh, did you?
So he was someone that really did influence me in a sort of personal way because he helped me with my carnivore journey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So definitely Professor Bart K. So I've actually really
I'm speaking to him next month or this month now.
Woo!
I can't wait.
Look, I'm seeing him in person again, so it's awesome. I actually really do consider him a good friend of mine and a really good mentor. So he's number 1. Number 2, I'm gonna throw in Simon Lewis.
Oh, boss man!
Boss man.
I call him boss man. He's everyone's carnivore boss.
Look. I didn't know the man behind the How to Carnivore page. I did not know who he was.
Yeah, he's a bit incognito, isn't he?
He's very incognito. And he reached out to me, obviously, in Instagram about the Carnivore Coaches group. At that time, I was lost in carnivore coaching because I didn't, I was running ship and, I was having success, but, I still felt like a little bit of an imposter in a way because, I'm standing up to these people who I've been coaching for years and that are so much more knowledgeable than I am. But since joining that group, he's just given me a platform to learn how to be open and I guess be confident in the way I
he's
promote.
So encouraging and supportive.
Yeah. And he does it with very minimal words. So you get into these calls or conversations with him and he doesn't say much. But I don't know, the way that he's just made this platform for carnivore coaches, it's helped me a lot.
And him sharing everyone's reels on the How to Carnivore page was like critical for me actually creating my account and my following.
Yes.
So thank you, boss man.
Boss man. So you're definitely my top 3. And third one, this is tough. I know I definitely have a top in my top 3 is Jonathan Griffiths, aka Carnivore Muscle from the UK.
I don't know if I know him.
He's been in the game for a lot. He's been in the social media space.
Carnivore Muscle.
Yeah. Look him up after this. He's a bodybuilder. But he's helped me in a lot of ways as a coach as well. But also, I actually was coached by him for a short period of time. But I've talked to him
when you were trying to go carnivore.
No. This was separate. So
or coached as a coach.
Coached for body composition.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I was trying to lose a bit of weight on the carnivore diet. And I just wanted to explore different, how do, I'm so used to my way of doing carnivore. Is there a different way to do it?
I've had that recently. Well, like the longer you do it, and then you feel like you kind of establish like a baseline, it becomes really interesting to see and just try out different things.
Yeah.
And you can actually like feel the difference in it. I like doing that now.
Yeah, yeah. So he's opened up my mind, and let's experiment a little bit, and let's try different things. There's no one size fits all when it comes to hitting your goals that you want to hit. And to me, that unlocked not just a mindset for what I can implement on my own health, but how I coach others. Because I was always, I don't know why, I was so tunnel-minded in you've got to eat a lot of fat, you've got to do it this way on the carnivore diet, transition slowly over a period of weeks. But the thing is, we're all different. And I don't know why I didn't.
We're all trying to reach optimal, but like optimal is only going to be one thing for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like for me, optimal is like drinking coffee in the morning. That is optimal. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're still on the coffee?
And that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Don't worry.
No.
Oh, I love it.
Coffee and prowls.
Yeah.
I love coffee. It's so good.
The smell?
So,
that's me. The smell is...
The smell, the taste, the caffeine. Though I have like discovered I was making them too strong.
Yeah.
I was putting like 2 heaped teaspoons of coffee in, and it was way too much. And now I just do 1, and I'm in a good place now.
You're in a good place?
I'm in a good place.
Oh dear. I think I'm going to go on a bit of a coffee detox in next few months.
I tried it, and it was worth doing.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, it was hard. It was harder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And I didn't even realize how hard it was until I started drinking coffee again. And I was like, wow, I actually felt awful.
Yeah. And you kind of had a slow...
so tired.
And you slowly have to bring the coffee back in? Is that what you did, or...?
No, I just went for it.
Oh, I tried that, and we can just cap it at that. The experience was not good. There. Oh,
yeah, I love coffee.
Yeah, it's something that I think. Yes, it's an addiction. Yes, it is a substance that can get abused, but for me, it does provide that little bit of energy, especially being absolutely wrecked with the shift work. I just need the energy sometimes, especially the night shift. Oh, what I do want to ask about is how you navigate around night shifts as a registered nurse on a carnivore diet.
I pray and hope for the best. I hate night shift. Carnivore helps though.
It does.
I actually I've been experimenting with night shift and eating at the moment. I used to eat on shift.
Yes.
But you actually gave me the idea to not do that. Because you talk about like you still eat whenever your normal eating time is, and you keep your body in that rhythm. And I thought, you know what, maybe that actually makes sense.
Yes.
If you can try and keep as much as you can in the right circadian rhythm, maybe that will help.
Yes.
And so I did experiment 2 night shifts when I last had them. I've been on days for a few weeks now, but and I didn't eat, and I felt okay. I was kind of hungry though, but I felt better when, like, by the time I'd got home and gone to sleep, I felt better.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do that. I'm on night shift tomorrow, so I think I'm going to do that. Yeah. Just eat more in the day. But I used to just eat 1 meal, but now I'm in a bit. I don't really. Yeah. So we'll see. Do you eat when you come home? Do you eat when you get home?
No. So
from a night shift in the morning?
Nope.
No, you just go straight to bed.
So I guess you can call it an eating window, but I'll just eat 1 meal a day at midday, whether that's at between 11 to 2 o'clock, whatever, but I'll only eat at that specific time. And yes, occasionally I might nibble on something, but honestly, it doesn't work out for me very well if I start to include larger meals, and split them up into, work around my shift work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Stomach wise, that it's just, we'll leave it at
Your
that.
digestion.
Yeah. It doesn't sit well. So I found that, it's best to just operate on eating at the same time every single day, no matter what shift you're doing. And I had just become
But
so
do you
accustomed to
find
it.
that when you have to wake yourself up in the middle of the day when you otherwise would have kept sleeping to eat, that interferes with your sleep?
No.
Because that's what I'm like, I need to sleep. If I wake myself up, I'd be really scared I wouldn't be able to then get back to sleep.
Get back to sleep? No, I go back to sleep immediately. I have no problems with sleep. I've never had problem with sleeping.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, I don't know if that's for me.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to sleep during the day, like past maybe, especially the first night, past 1 o'clock.
Oh, first night's always different. That's always going to be But it depends. Oh, look, people ask me like, how do you? Is there a way you can work around that? And my answer is, if you can give up night shifts, just give it up. Honestly, it's not worth it.
That's my plan. I am en route to do that right now.
Yeah. Is it really that worth it? I mean, people say, oh, do it in your younger years. Yeah, fine, whatever. To me now, I don't get that. I know I am, well, if you've got no choice and that's your contract, fine. But if you've got the power to not do that, I think it's going to be better for your health in the long term. Just my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. So, I think
some people like it though, which kind of blows my mind. There are a couple of nurses on my ward that only do the nights.
Yeah. I used to do that.
It just suits them. Really?
Yeah, I used to do like...
I guess if you only do like it gets really hard when you're doing day, night, day, night, day, night. Like that's when you're just all over the place.
Yeah. And it's... And this is the other thing too, with when it comes to... Now we're getting into other avenues of health. But yes, diet plays a huge role, but your circadian rhythm is, I won't say second, but it's up there. It's definitely,
it is up there, and it's so connected to your diet as well.
Yeah,
that they almost you can't think of one not the other one.
Yeah, and so you have to do these things. Like people say, this is what I do. I'm on a carnivore diet. I basically do all the five BART-K health hacks. So I do the Cerule, I do the grounding, I do the blue light blockers. So I go to work. Okay, it's gonna sound crazy. I wear the blue light lenses at work.
I'm going to wear them tomorrow on my night shift. I have like the day ones.
The day ones, yeah.
So they're not the red ones like yours. I have
yellow,
too, but they're the yellow ones.
Yeah, I wear that at work.
I'm gonna wear. So I look less crazy, but maybe a bit crazy.
Actually, the yellow one is awesome. It's just, you get this really retro
it's so
feel.
Subtle.
Oh, I love it.
I'm really excited. It's the one thing I'm excited about my night shift for now. To wear those.
You've never worn
myself
them?
a migraine.
You've never worn them?
New.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh, you kind of feel like you're in an 80s sort of, just the way everything looks. It's so cool. But anyway.
And all your patients are yellow.
Oh my gosh.
Funny.
Yeah. And so you get a lot of comments about it. So I get it. Like I do all these things.
I'm going to get a lot of comments.
Yeah. Look, I do these things because to me, this is so important for your health. Okay. Everyone talks about health as well. And they're kind of half-ass it. They're like, oh yeah, I do this on the side and I do exercise on the weekends, but I'll party and binge. I'll eat carbs. No, in my mind, that doesn't compute. It's your health comes first.
Yeah, and it needs discipline. And I feel like discipline. They look at discipline and think like, well, that's just restrictive and like boring almost, or like that's kind of like, why would you do that to yourself? But like in discipline, there's actually, it's liberation really. Like when you know what you want to do and then you can actually do it, even if your brain's telling you don't want to do it. Yeah. But you do it anyway. Like that's such a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like it.
And the thing is like,
and it creates a nice life for yourself.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. And like I I do it as well. And this is the selfish part of me, is that, I want to lead as I want to be an example to people. I can't just,
absolutely. As
yeah.
a nurse, it's like,
yeah,
that's you don't have to, but I feel like the ultimate like healthcare responsibility is to be a light of health.
yes, yeah.
And no one's going to take you. Who's going to take you seriously if you don't even know how to look after yourself?
No, well, sometimes you go to see a doctor in the clinic. I might be getting into deep toes here, but you think, well, really, you're giving me advice on my health, looking like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It just makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Oh, we're going for an hour and a half. I think it's been a really awesome conversation.
It has.
But let's wrap up here, and I guess let's talk about what is the future for you in, I guess, just you in general. Like, where do you see yourself moving forward? Now you've got social media and you're balancing a career in nursing. Where are you headed right now?
Yeah, well, I found myself in a very strange situation. I didn't really know what to expect when I made my Instagram. I just really wanted to talk about it. And it's done really well. And I'm in this space of opportunity. I feel like I have a million directions I could go. But at the moment, I've been developing my own coaching program, looking at getting people from just sugar burners to fat burners, and that the transition phase, because from that it's going to be the baseline to a lot of goals depending on the person, and so it'll be one-to-one, so we can speak through that. So that's what I'm doing on the side. I've just cut my hours. I'm going part-time in my nursing job. So hopefully I'll be able to balance them both. I'm looking to go on to like bank work, that's called here. So you can pick your own shifts instead of being contracted. So those two together, I think will work quite nicely. And then beyond that, I really don't know, I'm going to go to the public health conference in London at the end of May.
Awesome.
In the UK, which is really cool. Olivia, sorry, I can't remember her last name.
I'm not going to say. I don't know.
I'm sorry. She reached out because I posted that video on integrity in nursing. I was a bit nervous to post that one, but it was received quite well. And she reached out, inviting me down. So I'm going to go to that.
Amazing. As a speaker?
And who knows? No.
Oh,
I'm just going to watch. Maybe one day.
Oh, we'll get you up there.
On behalf of the NHS nurses.
Yes.
Public sector nurses. So who knows what's going to happen? Like, I really don't know at the moment.
Amazing.
But at the moment, I'm just focusing on making my own coaching program. So stay tuned.
Yes. So that's what people need to be, looking out for. We've got a carnivore nurse who's making strides in social media, and now you are in the coaching game, because people need it. People do need direction. People need education, and they need accountability to stick to a plan.
Yeah, exactly, and support.
Yeah. So, I like to think. So when I was reflecting on this the other day, coaching and nursing are very similar things. They're similar in the fundamentals of what you're trying to achieve. And so I think, this is what we need. We need more nurses in this coaching space, I think.
Yeah, and people that have, like, they've seen the other side of it, and like with a lot of the people who I'm assuming is going to come to Carnivore, they've already gone through the medical system.
Yes.
They've been told this and that, they've been given this and that, and they still don't feel good.
Yeah.
So it's going to come from someone who's seen that side and now is seeing this side too.
Yes.
And I think that can be a really supportive environment for someone.
Absolutely.
And I'd be really happy to do that.
Absolutely. Well, Lucy, it has been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, look, anytime.
Can't wait for our singing and guitar duet, Joff.
Oh, we've got to talk offline about that. Actually,
We got to make some lyrics.
I think we will. Look, I'm not that creative when it comes to lyrics and writing. I'm actually really bad at songwriting, but
I've done some bangers on my Instagram.
you have. I was actually thinking of adding some harmonies into your
yeah, you should
tracks.
give it a remix.
I will. You know what? That's coming. That's coming.
Then I can see your skills.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, look. Tell people where they can find you on social media. And yeah,
I'm just on Instagram at the moment under that Carnivore Nurse. I am looking at making a YouTube, most likely the same name.
Oh yes,
but I just haven't done that yet.
Get in the game. YouTube is where it's at.
Yeah, I want to because I'm such a rambler, and Reels is so quick. You have no time. You can't go into anything.
Tell me about it.
People can not get your point right just because you can't put in enough words.
Yeah.
So a nice ramble on YouTube would be good.
Yes.
So I'll get there.
Awesome. Well, look, everyone, thank you all for watching this episode, and we'll see you all in the next one, where we will have another guest on. So whoever that may be, we shall see. All right. We'll see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.